Today's starting pitching matchup. Give you our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today the Padres take on the Washington Nationals in the second game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup for the Nationals, left-hander Foster Griffin, and for the Padres, right-hander Michael King. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 1:05 p.m. here on the West Coast. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. You'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. You'll hear from Padres hitting coach and former Washington National Steven Souza Jr. We check in with Tony Gwyn Jr. in just a few minutes. Our keys to today's game, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 32-24. They began this road trip in the midst of a 4-game losing streak and coming off a 3-6 homestand against the Dodgers, A's, and Phillies. Padres play 2 more games against the Nationals the day off Monday, and then a 3-game series next week against the Phillies. Nationals, meanwhile, are 500 today at 29-29. They entered this series having just won 4 out of 6 on a road trip to Atlanta and Cleveland. A good trip against a pair of division leaders, but the Nationals, after last night, are now just 10-17 at home at Nats Park this season. Series opener last night in our nation's capital. Let's quickly rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
The Padres trailed 3-1 after 2 innings last night. Lucas Giolito giving up 2 early home runs to the Nats' Curtis Mead and Keibert Ruiz. Left-hander Andrew Alvarez was on the mound for the Nationals in the top of the 3rd. Gavin Sheets led off with a single. Later in the inning, he was on second base for Manny Machado.
Sheets at second, 2 down for Manny Machado. Pitch on the way. Manny smacks it the other way. That's down and a base hit. Cruz over towards the line to get it. Sheets will come in to score easily. And our long national nightmare is over. Manny Machado an RBI single to make it 3-2. And that snaps an 0 for 35 with runners in scoring position.
Nationals led 4-2 in the 4th inning. Padres put runners on first and third with 1 out. Freddie Fermin drove a run home with a ground out. That made it 4-3. There was still a runner in scoring position for Fernando Tatis Jr.
3 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch, and Fernando hits it on a line into right center. That is down and a base hit. Cruz has to play it on a hop. France comes in to score, and Fernando Tatis Jr.'s second hit of the night will tie this thing up 4-4 in the 4th.
Padres now with 3 knocks with runners in scoring position.
We had a 4-4 game going to the 5th inning. Jacob Young had an RBI single for the Nats. Run charge to Yuki Matsui. That made it 5-4. Washington left-hander Mitchell Parker into the game for the Nats in the 6th inning. The second batter of the inning was Ty France.
Next pitch, France sends it in the air deep to left field. Lyle is back at the wall, looking up, gonna go over the bullpen in left field for Ty France. A game-tying blast here in the top of the 6th inning, and we are once again even. It's 5-5.
It's one of those nights tonight. Ty France got the cement mixer right in the middle of the plate and leaned on this baseball.
Parker still on the mound in the 7th inning. Xander Bogaerts reached on an error with 2 outs, and Bogaerts still on first base. It was Jackson Merrill.
Pitch on the way. Jackson swings, hits it in the air to deep right field. Cruz is backing up to watch. This one gonna go! Jackson Merrill, a 2-run homer. And the Padres, with their first lead since the 1st inning, are ahead 7-5 in the top of the 7th.
Bottom of the 8th inning, Jason Adam allowed the tying runs on base with 2 outs and James Wood coming up. Craig Stammen wasn't messing around. He went to Mason Miller out of the Padre pen. Miller walked Wood to load the bases. Count then went full to 3-2 on Luis Garcia Jr. Garcia hit a deep line drive to left. Ramon Laureano just got back in time to make the catch. The inning was over. Padres didn't score in the top of the 9th inning, so we went bottom 9. Mason Miller trying to complete a 4-out save.
Miller at the ready. The 1-2 pitch. Lyle swings and misses. Strike 3. Mason Miller with his 4th 4-out save of the year. And the Padres end their 4-game skid with a wild 7-5 win over the Nationals here tonight. Not an easy night in the nation's capital, but the Padres get the job done. 10 hits as they break out offensively to take game 1 of this series.
Really nice win, and now we turn the page to game 2 of this 3-game series with first pitch coming up at 1:05 p.m. here in San Diego. Let's go out to D.C.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Tony Gwyn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Tony, let's start with a look at Jackson Merrill, who had the big hit last night, go-ahead home run in the 7th inning. That was coming off the 2 hits on Wednesday against a really, really good left-hander in Christopher Sanchez. Last couple of games, Tony, what are you seeing from Jackson Merrill?
I think it's for me. I thought he had some really good at bats against Christopher Sanchez, and that's obviously the toughest pitcher, the toughest lefty, and as a left-handed hitter, if you can go out and execute a game plan against a pitcher like that, it breeds confidence. And I thought you saw that carry over into last night's game. A guy like Sanchez, who has been as dominant as he is, to watch Jackson be able to get a single the other way with 2 strikes and then double later on in that game, I just thought it bred into confidence. And then I just thought the pitcher yesterday just made some poor decisions. I mean, he threw him 4 straight sliders. None of them moved away, and Jackson did what he was supposed to. He made him pay in a big 2-run homer there.
Michael King on the mound for the Padres here today. He's had a really, really good season, Tony. 2.76 ERA coming in. His last start definitely was his roughest of the year. 3 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs given up against the A's, 4 walks. How does Michael King right the ship here today against, as we saw yesterday, what's a very productive national lineup?
Yeah, he just get back to really commanding the baseball the way we had seen him prior to the last start. You started to see his patented sinker on lefties, on that side of the plate at least, start to land more, started to have better feel with the sweeper. And the changeup, I think, has been pretty good all season long. And so I just think his last start was a clunker. He'll work his way through that. But no doubt about it, this is not an offense that you're just going to walk through. It's, as we saw last night, a very potent offense, and he'll certainly have his work cut out for him.
Tony, I want to touch on the Padres bullpen. I mean, we all know how good it is. They have an MLB low ERA, 1.19 ERA over the past 15 games. But I think what continues to stand out beyond the leverage group doing such an amazing job is they just continue to get great production from everybody in that bullpen. You look at what Yuki Matsui has done. You look at what Wandy Peralta has done. I mean, it really is remarkable, and I think it's worth noting. It is not just the leverage group. It is everybody in that bullpen playing a role, right?
Well, that's how you get the reputation for having the best bullpen in the league. It's not just, Morty Hone, Estrada, Adam, Miller. It's also the likes of a Matsui, a Bragley Rodriguez, a Wandy Peralta. And so when you're having that kind of depth, and the Padres, quite frankly, they basically have 2 sets of 7, 8, 9 guys if they want to go that route. Not too many teams have that. And I think what makes a bullpen as good as the Padres is not just those late inning pieces, but it's the bullpen as a whole And I think you've seen that from the Padres this season.
Tony, I don't want to go negative here, but there was an interesting note in Kevin Acey's newsletter this morning in the San Diego Union Tribune regarding Manny Machado and the way he struggled this year against fastballs in the zone. If you look at the numbers, that they're way down from where he's been at in his career. To you, what's attributing to that with Manny, the fact that he's had trouble getting to the fastball in the zone in particular so far this season?
I hadn't seen Kevin's article today, but it's funny. My partner actually mentioned that on the air yesterday about the strikes, the fastballs in the zone that Manny has struggled with. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think his swing has been a little off, obviously, this year.
Right.
Considering when you look at the numbers, that's not like Manny. Manny, when Manny has been good in the past, the pitch he would struggle with is the slider down and away. He's not really struggling with that pitch this year. He's not chasing it nearly as much this year. But the flip side of that is he hasn't hit the fastball the way we've grown accustomed to. I still don't worry about Manny.
Yeah.
I think ultimately he's going to figure it out. He's going to get his swing back in line where he's not missing heaters as much. But it's certainly it's hard not to notice it at this point.
Yeah, until we get to the end of a year where Manny doesn't have his typical numbers, I'm going to continue to believe that Manny's going to find a way this season. Tony, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 12:55 here in San Diego. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, Tony Gwyn Jr. joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network. First pitch is coming up at 1:05 p.m. here in San Diego, middle game of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Washington Nationals. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a variety of ways. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well, Sammy Lev there too. You can also comment on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from, and if you have a key to today's game, let me know what it is, and I may just read it live here on the air. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Much more to do as we walk you up towards first pitch in our nation's capital on the Padres Radio Network.
You're listening.
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 1:05 p.m. here on the West Coast as the Padres play the Washington Nationals at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. As always, our pregame coverage brought to you by EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. That's 760-350-3338. A lot to do on our pregame coverage. We'll have who's hot, who's not coming up in this segment. We'll also take a look at some headlines from around the major leagues, do a little roundup of some of the exciting moments from last night's action in the major leagues. But first, let's take a look at the Padres starting lineup. Leading off for the Padres here today in Game 2 of this 3-game series, Fernando Tatis Jr. playing second base, Gavin Sheets in left field batting second, Miguel Andujar, the DH today, batting third, Manny Machado at third base batting cleanup, Jackson Merrill in center field batting fifth, Xander Bogaerts at shortstop batting sixth, Ty France at first base batting seventh, Ramon Laureano in right field batting eighth, and Rodolfo Duran doing the catching and batting ninth with right-hander Michael King on the mound for San Diego. Left-hander Foster Griffin on the mound for the Nats today. We'll have more on those pitchers coming up in just a little bit. As we get ready for today's game, let's go to Washington, D.C. and hear from the Padres skipper.
Let's pull up a seat in a manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Michael, I feel like we've been saying all year he's sort of been battling. He doesn't really feel like, I know he's tougher on himself than anybody else, but at the same time, he's not necessarily had his entire repertoire to go to. How impressive has he been to do what he's done, not even feeling his best at this point?
Yeah, I think all of us former pitchers would wish we could not have our full repertoire and pitch like that. He's been great so far this year. Had a little rough one last time out, but you're not going to be perfect for 33 starts. He's been great for us, giving us a lot of innings, and we really trust him when he's out there.
Yuki's been doing a really nice job for you. Can you talk a little bit about anything that you've seen differently since he's returned this season?
Yeah, Yuki's come in with a ton of confidence. We've pitched him in a little bit different role this year, a little bit longer role, and I think he's really liking it. He's loving coming in with guys on base. We've put him in a few of those situations. He's done really well. So Yuki is maybe the MVP of yesterday's game, tightening that game up and being able to get us to where we could use the rest of our bullpen and allow the offense to catch up.
Do you think some of it is just getting more used to the league and being more comfortable here, or are there some things that he's actually changed either physically or no?
Oh, yeah, I definitely think that's a big part of it is just his comfortability in a new country and a new, league to play in. He's changed a little bit of where he's throwing his fastball. That's helped a little bit, but I think all of that is a combination of, seeing somebody that was very successful in the Japanese baseball league, and he's now bringing that to Major League Baseball.
How important was that for Jackson Merrill last night to get that home run? I mean, kid's been grinding. He had great at-bats against Christopher Sanchez and follows it up with that big home run last night.
Yeah, just, sometimes it's good to see a really good result from a good process. He's had a good process here over this last week or so. And for him to get one like that, a big hit, to give us a lead and game-winning homer, was big to just solidify that he's on the right track and take care of the right process.
I mean, how important is that? Because to your point, you can be doing the right process, especially for hitters, and maybe not see the results from that for a while, but, it can be hard sometimes to stick with it and trust that it's going to work out.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about hitting is you can't force it. It's one of those things like you can't make yourself get a hit, and part of hitting is you could do everything exactly right and you're still not going to get the result that you desire. So, sticking the process what we've been trying to preach the whole season amidst a little bit of our struggles and individual struggles, but these guys are on the right track.
Speaking of process and results, Fernando hitting 405 over the last 11 ball games. I mean, still people are looking at where's the home run, but he's got some really great at-bats and hit the ball hard.
Yeah, and I think part of his process was not trying to hit a home run, and just being like, I'm a baseball player, I'm not a home run hitter. I'm going to go out and play baseball. And so far we've seen a little freer version of Fernando at the plate, and as a result, we've seen a lot of hits.
A little bit of the challenges with playing Castellanos in France, and you've got sort of profile the same type of player, but you've been able to pick the good spots for them. You got good results so far.
Yeah, we have. I don't know, maybe a little luck involved in that, but just trying to keep them as sharp as they can with not being able to play every day, and then give them the right matchups that we feel are favorable for them, whether that's pass results or what we feel their swing profile fits with the pitcher. Ty with a huge home run yesterday.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Craig on our post-game coverage coming up later on this afternoon. First pitch coming up at 1:05 in Washington, D.C. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Padres and Nationals going at it again after the Padres won yesterday's series opener 7-5. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
Well, you just heard Craig Stammen talk about him. Fernando Tatis Jr. in the hot category. Yeah, we know he's still searching for that elusive first home run of the season, but he has been very productive as of late in the midst of a 12-game on-base streak, batting .378 in that span with a .462 on-base percentage in those 12 games. Fernando has had multiple hits in 5 of his past 9 games. Gavin Sheets also in the hot category today. 2 hits last night, batting .370 with an 1152 OPS in his past 15 games. Not category, Miguel Andujar. He is just 4 for 32 in his last 8 games. And that's a quick look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 1:05. And once again, Fernando leading off today, playing second base, had 3 hits yesterday. He's really done a nice job just finding ways to contribute without hitting home runs. Hopefully that slug does come for Fernando, but in the meantime, he has been very, very productive and a key contributor to the Padres offense as of late. Let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Well, if you like walk-off home runs, last night was for you. We had 4 of them around the major leagues last night. In Pittsburgh, the Pirates trailed the Twins 5-4. Entering the bottom half of the 9th inning, a runner on base for Bryan Reynolds.
Rogers delivers. Drive to left field. This is going to do it. Walk it off. Bryan Reynolds. Oh, baby. Bryan Reynolds clears the deck. Anchor down, B-Ray. Pirates win it on a Friday night in the Berg.
Pirates radio on the call. Pirates beating the Twins 6-5. The 2-run walk-off home run for Bryan Reynolds. In Chicago, bottom of the 10th inning, Tigers leading the White Sox 3-2. There was a runner on base for Miguel Vargas.
And 0-1. A swing and a drive. Come on. Deep left. Ball game over. A 2-run homer. No way. Not again. We're headed home. Come on. 4-3 the final. Vargas now mopped by his teammates at home plate.
Len Casper on the call, White Sox radio, 13th home run of the season for Vargas. He's having a breakout year for the White Sox. They did not have all good news, though, in that game. White Sox slugger Munetaka Murakami did come out of the game earlier with a hamstring tightness. Sounds like it's pretty significant, like he's going to miss quite a bit of time. So bad news there for the White Sox, but hey, they're playing well, and they win it yesterday on the walk-off home run by Miguel Vargas. In New York last night, it was the Mets and the Marlins tied at 7 in the bottom half of the 10th inning. The Mets, MJ Melendez at the plate.
0-2. Crack deep, right field, toward the line. Casey back onto the track. It is gone. Second deck home run, MJ Melendez. And the Mets win this thing 9-7.
Keith Rad on the call, Odyssey Mets Radio. MJ Melendez, a 2-run walk-off home run in the bottom half of the 10th inning. Mets beat the Marlins on a Friday night. Finally, to the National League West, the Rockies hosting the Giants. Rockies trailed 6-3 entering the bottom of the 9th inning. Hunter Goodman tied the game with a 3-run home run. And then 3 batters later, Ezekiel Tovar ended it.
Right on right with Killian. He drives it to left. High and deep and gone. A touch 'em all time. Walk off winner.
Rockies Radio, KOA 850 AM. The call there, a 5-run bottom half of the 9th inning. Ezekiel Tovar, the walk-off home run. Rockies coming all the way back to beat the Giants 8-6. And that's a look at what went on around the majors last night. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit. When we come back, we hear from Padres hitting coach and former National Steven Souza Jr. about a very, very memorable moment that Souza had at Nats Park in Washington, D.C. We have our keys to today's game and much, much more. First pitch coming up at 1:05 p.m. right here on the Padres Radio Network.
Feet all around Nationals Park. The 2-1 pitch. Line to left center field. Souza moving over. Can he get there? He makes a diving catch. He makes a diving catch. He holds on. It's a no-hitter. It's a no-hitter for Jordan Zimmerman. What a play by Souza to end the game and clinch a no-hitter for Zimmerman. And it's a mob scene up the third base line. He has thrown the first no-hitter in Nationals history, culminating, capped by a spectacular catch by Steven Souza Jr. Now with a bear hug for Jordan Zimmerman, lifting him off the ground.
September 29th, 2014 at Nationals Park, Jordan Zimmerman 1 out away from pitching the Nationals' first no-hitter watched his 104th pitch sail off the bat of Christian Yelich into left center field. And now Padres hitting coach, back then a rookie for the Nationals, Steven Souza Jr., made an incredible diving catch to complete the no-hitter. Nationals beat the Marlins that day in game 162, 1-0. That's the way the regular season ended for the Nationals. They were already National League East champions, so they were heading on to the postseason. But Jordan Zimmermann throwing the first no-hitter in Nationals history. Steven Souza Jr. making the outstanding play in left field. Souza, drafted in 2007 by the Nationals. He debuted with the Nationals in 2014, and what a terrific moment for Steven Souza Jr. Of course, Souza, now the Padres hitting coach. He spoke a little bit earlier about that amazing catch that helped complete the first no-hitter in Nationals history before the Padres take on the Nationals here today.
You know, I wasn't really known for a defensive outfielder at that point, but you know, the one thing I remember walking out there was like, no matter what happens, if the ball's even close, I got to lay out for it. And, you know, surely enough, the outfield coach brought me in and over against Christian Yelich to just stop the flare. You know, you don't want to lose a no-hitter on that. And, you know, of course, he hits it right in that gap. And I just remember putting my head down and running as fast as I could. And, you know, it's like happening in slow motion. In my head, I'm thinking there's no way I'm getting to this ball. But, you know, I looked up and I was closing ground on it, and I kind of overran it a little bit, so I had to like dive backwards towards it. And I remember catching it, and when it hit my glove, all I could think of was like, this ball can't pop out. So I put my hand in there, and you know, Michael Taylor celebrated with me. It felt like we won the World Series at that point to end the year. Fans are going nuts. Like, you know, I've never heard anything so loud in my life, and celebrating with the guys on the field, one of the coolest memories I've ever had. It's one of those things that's like I'm bonded here forever, and I love that. I love that. That's one of my lasting memories here, because this is such a good organization that helped me, and a lot of good players that come through here. So yeah, a special moment.
Yeah, really, really cool moment for now Padre hitting coach Steven Souza Jr. Would recommend you go back and watch that catch in the moment in Nationals Park as Jordan Zimmermann threw the first no-hitter in Nationals history on the final day of that 2014 regular season. And, of course, Souza watched the Padres offense that broke out in a big way yesterday, 7 runs on 10 hits. And now the Padres trying to make it 2 wins in a row as they take on the Nationals with first pitch coming up at 1:05. Let's give you the latest on the Padres injuries.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Let's run down the most recent updates. Right-hander German Marquez through a live batting practice session on May 28th, so a couple of days ago. He's expected to next make a minor league rehab appearance. Luis Campusano continues to be on the IL with that left big toe fracture. He is doing baseball activity in Arizona. Sounds like it's still going to be a little while until Luis is back. What other updates do we have for you? Matt Waldron on the IL with that right brachialis strain. He has began a throwing program. We'll see what the deal is with Matt moving forward, how long that'll take for him to get back. Jake Cronenworth continuing to deal with those concussion symptoms. We heard Craig Stammen talk about it yesterday. Right now, one of the things they're trying to do with Jake is kind of manage the symptoms when his heart rate elevates. They're working on baseball activity, playing catch, taking some swings, but they are clearly being very careful, taking it slow with Jake Cronenworth. And Jake has now been on the IL since May 5th. So we're coming up on a month. And so hopefully Jake will be back as soon as possible. And so that is a look at the injury updates for you on this Saturday as we get updates on all those guys, and further updates on guys like Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove. Will continue to pass those along. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, tell you what's going on this Saturday around the majors.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Well, we only have one game going on right now. White Sox leading the Tigers 2-1 in Chicago in the 6th inning. Everything else coming up later. Twins and the Pirates at 1:05 in Pittsburgh. Bailey Ober against Mitch Keller, the pitching matchup there. Blue Jays and the Orioles at 1:05 in Baltimore. Trey Savage and a 2.25 ERA on the mound for Toronto today. Rangers hosting the Royals at 1:05. Seth Lugo against Kumar Rocker, the pitching matchup in Arlington. Angels and the Rays in Tampa Bay at 1:10. Drew Rasmussen in the midst of a great year, a 2.78 ERA on the mound for Tampa Bay. Reed Detmers on the mound for the Angels. Red Sox and the Guardians in Cleveland at 1:10. Sonny Gray on the mound for Boston today, and Parker Messick on the mound for Cleveland. Marlins and the Mets at 1:10 in New York. Brewers and the Astros in Houston at 1:10. Braves and the Reds at 4:15 in Cincinnati. Brady Singer against Martin Perez, the pitching matchup in that one in Cincinnati today. Cubs and the Cardinals in St. Louis at 4:15. Giants and the Rockies at 6:10 in Colorado. Yankees and the A's at 7:05 in Sacramento. Ryan Weathers on the mound for the Yankees. JT Ginn on the mound for the A's. Diamondbacks and the Mariners in Seattle at 7:10. Ryan Nelson against Brian Wu, the pitching matchup there. And finally, Phillies and the Dodgers in LA later today, 7:10 p.m. start time in that one. Jesus Luzardo on the mound for Philly. Roki Sasaki on the mound for the Dodgers. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll have much more on all those games coming up a little bit later during our post-game coverage. First pitch coming up at 1:05 p.m. in Washington, D.C. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
Key number one, a bounce back for Michael King. Michael King has been really good so far this season. A 2.76 ERA in 11 starts this year, but his last start against the Athletics was by far his roughest start of the season. 3 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs given up on 5 hits. He struck out 4, but he also walked 4. So Michael King's going to be looking for a bounce-back outing here today. This will be King's first start against the Nationals as a Padre. He has not faced them since 2023 when he was with the Yankees. Now, generally, the Padres could use more length from their starters, especially today, because they used Yuki Matsui, Jeremiah Estrada, Adrian Morejon, Jason Adam, Mason Miller last night. Remember, Miller got 4 outs. He threw 30 pitches last night in the save. Lucas Giolito's short outing yesterday was the 7th time in 21 games a Padres starter has gone 4 innings and a third or less. So there have been a lot of days where Padres starters are not providing length. King being both effective and giving the Padres some length today, that would be very, very nice for this Padres pitching staff. Also, keep an eye on this because King has been fantastic this season. His first 2 times through the order, but the 3rd time through has been way different. First time through the order, an opponent batting average of 141, strikeout rate of above 31%. Second time through, opponent batting average of 190, strikeout rate of 25%. But then, 3rd time through the order, 333 opponent batting average, so jumps up a ton, and only a 14% strikeout rate. So keep an eye on that. If King gets deeper in this game, can he go deep and also continue to be effective? That's key number one, a bounce back outing today for Michael King. Key number 2, more Merrill madness. Jackson Merrill hit his first home run in 73 at-bats last night. Not only that, but the 108.5 mile per hour rocket to right field was the hardest ball he's put in play since May 4th. Last night's home run, of course, following a 2-hit game against the Phillies on Wednesday. Can Jackson Merrill continue to swing a hot bat? That's key number 2. Key number 3, the power of the pen. Like we talked about with Tony a little bit earlier, the Padres bullpen has just been terrific as of late. A major league low 1.19 ERA in their past 15 games. That's now a span of 60-plus innings, and it doesn't matter who it is. It can be the Leverage Group and Estrada and Adam and Morahone and Miller, and I'll throw Bradley Rodriguez in there as well. But you know what? You look at what guys like Yuki Matsui has done, what Wandy Peralta has done, what Ron Marinaccio has done. It is everybody top to bottom in that Padre bullpen. So continuing the power of the pen, that's key number 3, and that's a look at our keys to today's game. One note on the Nationals, we mentioned this yesterday. Nationals lead the majors with 311 runs scored this season, but they've also allowed a major league high 317 runs. Only 5 teams have ever had the most runs scored and allowed over a full season. Nobody's done it since the 2006 Rangers, and we sort of saw that last night. The Nationals offense did a nice job. They scored 5 runs, but their pitching gave up 7, sort of the microcosm of the National season. Nationals come in today 29-29, and the Padres 8 games above 500 at 32-24. When we come back, we talk about National starter, left-hander Foster Griffin, a deeper dive on him, much more to do as we walk you up towards first pitch coming up at 1:05 in Washington, D.C. We send things out to Jesse and Tony in under 10 minutes right here on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 1:05 p.m. in Washington, D.C. We send things out to Jesse and Tony in just about 6 minutes. Coming your way soon as the Padres go for a second straight win against the Nationals. Before we tell you what to watch for today, let's focus on a couple of former Padre prospects. One former Padre and C.J. Abrams. Told you yesterday that C.J. Abrams had 47 RBIs on the season, second most in baseball. He's hitting .390 with runners in scoring position this season. Then you have James Wood, who's hitting .352 with 5 home runs in his last 19 games. But one thing the Padres got to do today that they did yesterday is limit Wood and Abrams. Wood went 0 for 3 with a couple of walks. Okay, no big deal. And Abrams went 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. So the Padres were careful against Abrams and Wood. You got to do that again. Those are two very, very prolific hitters, and they can really produce runs. So again, Padres, whether it be Michael King or the Padre bullpen, got to be very, very careful with Wood and Abrams. Padres successful at doing that last night. Let's talk about what else the Padres need to do as we tell you what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
Well, let's dive in on Nationals left-hander Foster Griffin on the mound for the Nats today. He went 6 shutout innings in a win in Atlanta on Sunday, earned the victory, gave up just 3 hits while striking out 6. And keep in mind, that's a very, very good Braves lineup. Griffin's got a sub-4 ERA. Nats are 8-3 this season in games that Griffin starts, and they're 21-26 when anyone else starts. So they've been particularly good when this left-hander Foster Griffin is on the mound. But the thing to watch in particular today with Foster Griffin is this. Of the 10 home runs Griffin has surrendered this season, 9 of them have come on a fastball, whether it be his four-seam fastball, his cutter, or his sinker. Now, the Padres are hitting just .242 as a team against fastballs this season. That's the lowest collective batting average against fastballs, or I should say, the second lowest collective batting average against fastballs in the major league. So again, the matchup here today, a guy in Griffin who typically when he gives up a home run, it's on a variety of the fastball against the Padres offense that has not been great, at least as far as average, and quite frankly, as far as OPS as well, against heaters. So who wins that matchup today? Can Griffin sneak his fastball by the Padres, not have it hit hard? That's what to watch for in today's game as the Padres take on the Washington Nationals in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Again, the Padres come in a record of 32-24, Nationals at 500 at 29-29. Last night in D.C., Padres offense broke out in a big way, 7 runs on 10 hits. Can the Padres keep the bats cooking here today? We're going to find out. When we come back, we send things out to our nation's capital. Jesse Agler, Tony Gwyn Jr. standing by, ready to go from Nationals Park. They'll have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.